let's go back to the questions that people wrote after this tiny tangent.
Like anything.
Yeah, we usually go on ARMY tangents or just speak out about BTS.
But then here we are, like our academic, like.
Yeah. Do you think people on the outside of the fandom would find a lot of interest? Like, I know why your work is fascinating,
Sure.
Even not as an ARMY, like in general, and the implications that it can have and the impact that stuff like that can have on different fields. Mm-hmm. But someone from the outside, do you think they would easily be able to see that?
Absolutely. It's interesting. Like I said, most of the people in my life aren't BTS fans and aren't ARMY. So, but I do talk to them about my research, and I think as long as people are open and willing to listen, then they'll find something interesting about it, right? I have friends and family who I talk to about my research, and they're all fascinated by it. And I think that the same reaction every time is, I didn't know that they are that impactful or they're that powerful, right? Like when I show them data and tell them about these things, like they're always surprised by it. But again, there's that, and then also the other side of like, I didn't know you could even research that. So, so I think that people would certainly be interested and be fascinated if they're willing to listen and not like go into it being like, oh, ew, like K-pop and BTS, and I don't really care about it because it's just a bunch of teenagers and whatever. So as long as they're willing to listen to what's being presented to them, I think that they'll find something interesting. I mean, like pretty much like 100% of people who I've talked to about this research have found something where they're like, wow, like that's super cool. So yeah, so again, I think on the outside, I hope that more people start to be open, especially with all the attention being given right now to K-pop and BTS. I hope that people now are willing to listen, and to not just learn about it like on this broad scale, but to like go in depth about especially ARMY and the things that they're doing more specifically that most people don't know. So there's just so much to unpack. So
yeah. Definitely, especially like right now you see all of a sudden all this change, people perceive K-pop, they perceive ARMY, like all of a sudden they're like, oh, fankins, great.
Yeah.
And so BTS donated $1 million and ARMY donated $1 million, so let me stand BTS.
Yeah. And I've talked to people about this before, and the hope is, even as our social media goes back to like normal, we would hope that people continue to say those same things, right? Where if they see hashtags about BTS, like we hope that the reaction isn't like, oh, BTS again. Like we hope that in their minds they're like, oh, BTS, like I remember when their fans like donated that $1 million, like that's so cool. And I'm interested to see how that happens in the next couple of weeks and months, and how that perception either stays the same or shifts or changes. So it'll definitely be interesting, but they're definitely shine in a more positive light, but people still don't quite understand like everything, and again, just going back to like ARMY, like that in itself is so complex and so hard to understand for people on the outside. So there's a lot of learning to do, and hopefully we can help educate and inform more people. So
I had you just reminded me, the weirdest conversation like 2-3 weeks ago.